Hey guys, it's WhipWhyWin. Today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on whether you should play Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veiler. We'll start off by reading their effects. Infinite Impermanence's effect reads, it's a normal trap card. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Negate its effects until the end of this turn. Then, if this card was set before activation and is on the field at resolution, for the rest of this turn, all other spell/trap effects in this column are negated. If you control no other cards, then you can activate this card from your hand. Okay, now I'll read Veilers. During your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to your graveyard, then target one effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has its effects negated until the end of this turn. I forgot to mention that Effect Veiler is a quick effect. Effect Veiler is also a light spellcaster and tuner, and that's important. I'll cover that later. The start will have some positives for Infinite Impermanence. One, it's immune to Cold by the Grave, kind of like Evenly Matched, because it's not in the grave when its effect resolves. Two, it can negate all spell traps in the column that it's activated if you set it beforehand, and you can treat it like a normal trap. Three, because it's a normal trap, you can search it with Trap Trick, which a lot of trap decks can play, so this will probably be your option in those trap-based decks. 4, it's about to be reprinted in the Cyberstrike structure deck, so you can pick it up pretty easily then. Okay, so now for some negatives. Spell and trap negation can be swapped by things like twisters because it has to be on the field at resolution when it's set. I'll read its effect again. If this card was set before activation and is on the field at resolution, so you can stop it with things like twisters or cosmic cyclone, so that's a negative. It's quite expensive right now, except that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it'll still be a $10 card, I think, when it gets reprinted. And it's also quite popular, which means that it can easily be negated with Crossout Designator. However, that's quite expensive, so that shouldn't be the main thing you're focusing on. Just unless you're playing competitively, then you'll want to worry about that. Okay, onto Veiler. So it can be used to make Crystron Hacky 5 racks and then go up into access code, which is just you need one body and effect Veiler, so that's pretty good. It's searchable with Sage of Eyes of Blue. I mean, that's casual, but if you want to run extra copies of Veiler, I wouldn't recommend it, but you just can search it with Eyes of Blue. That's just something to note. It's another body you can use on your field. It's quite cheap, and it's a tuner, which means you can go off into synchro monsters if your deck doesn't have synchros. A negative is it can only be activated during your opponent's main phase. Like, you can't activate it during your turn or in their battle or standby phase, which sometimes you might want to activate it then. And it also can be negated by Cold by the Grave, which is only at 1, so it shouldn't be something you focus on. But it's just another thing to note. It can also be stopped with Crossout Designator, so that's now 4 cards in your opponent's deck that can negate Effect Veiler. So which one should you pick up? If you can afford it, or you have the time to wait, I would say Impermanence. It does have more negatives, although its positives can just do things that are quite unique and it's good against a lot of decks, like even the ones that aren't monster effect reliant. And I think its benefits outweigh Veilers. However, if you do have space in your extra deck for Christian Hockey 5 racks, Selene, I think it is, and access code, then I would consider playing that. In Blue Eyes deck, definitely choose Veiler. And yeah, that's my thoughts on this, which one you should pick up, and I'll see you in the next one.